honorable panelists from all over Europe, from all over Poland, from various cities, and also from Budapest/Barcelona, and we'll have an online intervention from Great Britain. We are 4 now, we'll be 5, and even 6 with the double stunt if we count the online intervention. And we are here, we're going to talk about the inclusion and well-being and inclusion, which are, let's put it straight, which are buzzwords. What do they mean? Let's narrow them down into the definition by the New European Bauhaus, which defines inclusion as valuing diversity to securing accessibility and affordability. I'm not sure if I really narrowed it down, but this will be it. Nothing less, nothing more. And I will give the floor to our panelists to talk about diversity and the securing of accessibility and affordability in their projects. We'll start with design, with design of a product, with something tangible that we can keep in our hands. And we will talk to Dr. Joanna Krokosz from Krakow, from a designer and lecturer at the Faculty of Industrial Design at the Academy of Fine Arts in Krakow. She also runs Socially Responsible Design Studio at the Universal Design Laboratory. Then we will move toward space. And here we will use the expertise and experience from Magister Igor Wysiuk, architect, founder of the Quarterly Rzut, Throw in English, architect, researcher, curator, and architectural educator, also involved on behalf of the Warsaw branch of SARP in the creation and operation of Zodiac Warsaw Architecture Pavilion. From space, we'll go into the urban area, urban space, and we'll talk to Timea Soke from Budapest, and now currently also PhD fellow in Barcelona, who will talk about project Budapest 100. From the city, we'll shift to Folk Artistic Craft University, and we'll talk to the alumna of the university, and also currently an assistant professor in landscape architecture at the University of Rzeszów, Dr. Anna Sołtysik. And later, once we will be joined by Professor Nocuń, from an archaeologist, representative of the Princely Tower Association in Siedlęcin, a lecturer and researcher of medieval archaeology at the Jagiellonian University in Krakow, who will, together with Sergeant Diarmaid Walsh, will talk about Operation Nightingale. So stay tuned. There are lots of projects that we will talk about, various facets of accessibility and affordability in culture and cultural heritage. I've already given you a heads up. Let's start with design. Dr. Krokosz, how would you say what's the role on the level of product, on the level of design? How would you say what is the process of, and how does your studio, how does your laboratory deals with social, inclusive, and universal design?
Maybe I will start with the background. So, as you know, I'm an academic teacher, and I'm very close related to Academy of Fine Arts, and maybe I will start with that perspective. Some years ago, we got a big foundation to improve our program of teaching, and we had an opportunity to improve it and to add more lectures, more workshops related to universal design and accessibility. So I know that it's a privilege that we have had some funds to improve the program, and accessibility and inclusion are the topics that we are talking about all the time since 2020 actually. So our students finished the bachelor and master degree having really good knowledge about how to design for the groups of people that normally are skipped in design process. Nobody thinks about people that are using wheelchairs or deaf or partially sighted people. So in our world and our faculty, we think that it's normal that everyone knows about inclusion, about universal design. But when I'm working with institutions, with cultural institutions, I realized that it's not so normal. So it's a big challenge to. It's not a standard that people knows about those topics, and yeah, it's a basic right, human right, to have accessible environment and products around you. So for me, it's something that everyone has to have guaranteed. Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question right.
Certainly, thank you. I do have a lot of follow-ups, and we'll talk about also the processes, how do you structure your knowledge, how do you get data. But before that, let's, as I already promised, let's move on to the larger scale. And what about space? We have a question about to Mr. Wysiuk. From the perspective of a theoretician and architect, how can space how can space be safe and inclusive?
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here, and well, I have a couple of perspectives from depending on the projects that I have been involved with, and recently one of the projects I'm a part of Work-Based Studio based in Warsaw, and we design work environments, and together with my colleagues Barbara Majewska and Dominika Zielińska last year, and together with the Polish Green Building Council, we have decided to try to tackle this topic of well-being, first of all in the office, because that's what we are most familiar with and what we research. And we decided that first of all, let's start with getting some data. And well-being, it is a buzzword. So we wanted to dig a bit deeper and see what's the current state of it. And we had an open online survey earlier this year. And a couple of interesting things that we have noticed, starting with that 93% of our respondents, we have over 540 respondents online, for them well-being is either important or very important, whether their employer introduces well-being policy or in general cares about the well-being. So it shows that it is a hot topic not only in the design community but also for people in general. And I would say that it has its merit. As we were preparing for the discussion via an email exchange, I thought that when it comes to space, we sometimes overlook the fact that everything around us has been designed, and it affects us. We spend over 90% of our time indoors, so it also contributes to. So the environment that we are in immensely contributes to our well-being, our physical well-being, our mental well-being. We can name other well-being, societal, planetary, etc. However, so to answer the questions briefly, yes, the space affects us immensely, and I think it's we have to be aware of it, be mindful of it, analyze how the space affects us, and there is a lot of research, and there are many buzzwords over the couple of years recently, and when you dig deeper into books, you start to figure out that okay, in the 1980s they figured it out already, in the 1960s they figured it out already. There was a panel discussion earlier on here on the cultural heritage, and Iwo Kronkowski was telling about how they are discovering also heritage in other areas. So let's try to be mindful of and be aware of what we have researched and what we know already to take the next step.
Thank you very much. Well, we will indeed talk about knowledge transfer. Thank you. But there was you mentioned that we spend 90% of our time indoors, and this is a very interesting fact, but also a perfect segue to our discussion on the level of a city, on the level of what happens on the streets. And Tima, can you tell us a bit about your project, Budapest 100, and how does it? I'm reading. How does it build community around local history and architecture for as long as already 13 years in Budapest? Congratulations on the project as well. I know it's award-winning.
Yes, thank you very much. So I'm here as a representative of the Hungarian Contemporary Architecture Center, KÉK, and one of our projects is, as it was mentioned, Budapest 100, which is basically like an architectural and cultural festival that was created to celebrate the 100th birthday of our buildings. So I like to have birthday celebrations for buildings, which is like a cute idea and a cute excuse to talk about heritage, to talk about our stories, to talk about our communities, and to build something that I think it's getting lost in cities, which is like the neighborliness, the connection, the true community. Community is also like a buzzword. Like we have a lot of buzzwords, especially when we talk about like the software of our cities or architecture or the built environment as such. And community is often used, I think, as like the synonym for a citizen. And to be honest, I think that's not the case, and we do have to work on them very, very precisely. And so what we do at the Budapest 100 Festival is basically to create a framework, to create an opportunity for locals to showcase their stories, their heritage. And the most difficult part of the project is always to convince the people who live in these like heritage buildings that their stories, their little relics of their grandfathers living there or doing, like an old bicycle riding workshop, which was a thing back then. It has value, and it's value to share, and people are interested in it. So we have a lot of things to do in terms of education and knowledge transfer and raising awareness around this. But I think in the last 13 years of our festival, and the fact that not just the awards, but also the fact that it has grown so much during the years shows that there is a need for this neighborliness, for this connection, for this community building activities. And as it comes back also for design, because I also come from a design theoretical background partially, and I always found it fascinating how we can create these frameworks for collaboration for people, and I think heritage is a great tool to do so.
Thank you very much. On that note, we will now shift toward folk arts, and this is a question to you, Dr. Sultysik. To you as a recipient of a heritage-based offer, which is supposed to build a community, and we're talking about Folk Arts and Crafts University in Boleslav, so we're now in rural environments. And can you tell us about this experience as an alumna? So that offer was built to include you as well. So now we have a perspective of a person who was a recipient. And can you tell us about the sense of belonging? And what we want to talk about is countering social exclusion.
Thank you for the question. Thank you also for inviting me to this panel. Maybe I will tell a few words about Folk University, because maybe not everyone knows the idea. The idea was made by Danish philosopher, pedagogue, and pastor Grundtvig in 19th century. And the idea was to make a school for young adults in the rural areas, and it was meant to be a school for life, so that young people can learn how to do things, so how to have a job, but also how to connect with other people. So the social skills and civil skills were very important. But also what is a characteristic for Folk University is that students and teachers are equal. So imagine in the half of 19th century, this idea was born, so it is now very rare that in universities also students are equal to teachers. And also that teachers and students are living together and learning the social skills, and I think it's great and it's still present. One thing I wanted to say more, because I really like the idea. Yes, and also students were supposed to be responsible for school, so they should take care of places where they work, where they live. So it really was like a group therapy for young adults. And the idea spread around Denmark and also Europe, also Poland. So to Poland it came about 1920. 1921, I think the first officially Folk University was founded. And nowadays there are still in Poland 18 folk universities, which are well organized, so you can find them in the website. And coming back to the point, me as a participant of a two years course of arts and crafts, also for me it was kind of school for life. So it really changed me, in a different ways. So the same as in Grundtvig idea, we were living together. So in Wola Sękowa there is actually old school building from 1930s, which have the school. So upstairs we have rooms for living, for sleeping, bathrooms, and downstairs we have workshop rooms where we are learning different crafts. But also there's a lot of space around, so there's a big garden. And we had to care about our bathrooms, kitchen, and so on. And really, the teachers were like, we all shared the same space, and we were really a community. So it was really a possibility to learn how to be in the group, but also not only we learn arts and crafts, but also we were aware about local culture, local history, and so, for example, we learn how to sing some local songs also, and yes, I can talk about different things many hours because I really love that place and I'm still connected with it.
Thank you very much. I'm going to break my rule now and I'm going to ask a follow-up question right now. So, can you tell me, you said that this was a transformational experience. Can you elaborate on what changed in you? Whether someone who joins an alum of such a university, once they are integrated over arts and crafts, over special skills, they work with their hands, they live with others. What are the aspects of daily life that you would change? If you want to, you have changed. If you want a little bit more time to think about it, it's all right. It's just this idea of transformation. This is very interesting.
You mean transformation in me as a person in different areas, like
life? Yes.
Of life.
As if now you're a lecturer at a
yes.
regular standard university. Do your teaching techniques were they affected by the role at university?
I think my artistic life has changed because I'm also an artist. I'm a sculpturist, and I take actually yes, because now one thought came to my mind that I saw there. I experienced that I have some extra powers, so that actually I'm good in sculpture. I didn't know that before, so I was there in my 30s, so in the beginning of my 30s, and I finally saw that my manual skills are really good, and I was more and more interested in 3D modeling in different materials, and I now I'm making sculptures in willow, because we learned also basket making. So I think it helped me to discover myself as an artist too. And as a person also, because I felt good in the community. I'm not so very open, I'm rather introvert. And I felt there like at home. And this is, I called it my artistic home. So yeah, it had a great impact on me. And I think it has impact on many levels, because also it's not only people around university, it's also university connected with local community.
Thank you very much. Thank you for adjusting to the changes in our agenda. There is a reason I asked about transformation, because now we will shift toward and indeed a very transformational project. We were joined by Professor Nocun. Thank you for joining us, an archaeologist from the Jagiellonian University in Krakow, who will introduce the OP Nightingale project, and will present it in tandem with surgeons. Their mates who will join us online via pre-recorded video. And can you tell us a little bit about the project, and then we will show the video, and then we'll continue the discussion.
Of course, thank you very much, and a huge sorry for being late, but my previous panel just finished 20 minutes later, so that's why I'm here also coming a bit late. Okay, let's just give a bit of context to the project that Diarmuid will be talking in a moment about. I'm an archaeologist. For me, archaeology was first just research, because I'm working at the university. I was looking for a place to start the excavations, to get information, just to build the picture of the historical monument. This is the medieval tower in Siedlęcie near Jelenia Góra, and for me, from the beginning, this was the most important thing. I was taking students, and these were just excavations. After 4 weeks, we were coming back to Krakow, and we were working on the excavated material. After a few years, we noticed that there are some people who would like to join us. Not students, not trained people working with heritage, just people interested in it. So we opened a bit. We started to work together with some other people, and this is how I met Sergeant Welsh, that in a moment will be also talking us about his project, Operation Nightingale. Because this is the project that changed a lot in Great Britain. It started after the huge conflicts in Iraq, then in Afghanistan, and a lot of soldiers, veterans, were coming back to the United Kingdom with some problems. PTSD was one of the greatest problems, and they were looking for some solutions. First of all, I have to say this was not the treatment. The people were going through the therapy, but they were just looking for some things that could involve the people more, where people will be able to find something interesting for them, just to stop to think about the bad past of them and to look forward. And they were looking for something, first of all, that helps with good well-being. And in Britain, they had a lot of research showing that dealing with heritage is one of the things. When you see nature, when you're dealing with historical monuments, it already helps you to feel a bit better. but it wasn't enough. They were looking for something that people could get involved more. And they were looking for something, let's say, adventurous. And for many people, archaeology is a kind of adventure, because you are just, it's like a treasure hunting. You are looking for, I don't know, gold or something like this. It's not that, but it's people go to it, people want to work with it, and this is how it started. I think that the very important thing is that these projects where the veterans were involved started by British Army, because Diarmuid is also a trained archaeologist. He's a soldier and archaeologist, so he could combine his two skills to start the project. And in Britain there is also a lot of associations, local associations that take care after local heritage, that they are involved helping museums to do some archaeological survey, etc., etc. So the very good thing about the project was not that it was just happening once a year, that there was a camp, 20 veterans could come, work for 3 weeks, and then they were going back to their limbo. No, it wasn't fortunately working like this, because they started already to give them some new ideas, to invite them, to walk with them in the fields, look for some archaeological material, work with this archaeological material in the winter months, just to get them involved, maybe not totally, but for a longer period. So the people felt that they are needed, that their work is important for the community, important for the nation, important for the heritage. So they just found back the goal, a kind of a goal for them, and I think this was a very big and really great achievement. The extra thing, the added value to the project is that we can say that few of these people decided to study archaeology, few of them finished the studies and they became professional archaeologists. So it also managed to change their life, their career, and the archaeology helped them to win with their problems. Why I'm talking about it? Because our site was chosen to be one of places where the British soldiers with problems can come and help us to work. Well, I have to say honestly that the COVID changed the situation. Finally, we didn't get that, but we were prepared quite well. We learned some histories and we understood that this is really important to be involved in such things. I think that this is a topic, especially now when we see what's happening in the Ukraine, maybe it could be implemented in the future. I just don't want to talk more about it, because I think that it's the decision of people in the Ukraine, but I think they could consider this project as the one that could be implemented also in their country after the war. Let's hope it will be soon is finished. But we just decided to go on with the idea that archaeology dealing with heritage can help people to get better. And we started to cooperate with Rempart. It's a French organization that takes care after almost 200 historical monuments, mostly ruined castles in France. This is an umbrella organization, because every castle has got a small organization that takes care after it, and they decided that they will also try to help people with some problems, people feeling excluded from the society, people looking for social skills to get with the communities better. And we started to invite volunteers from France, including the ones that have problems, and just not to talk too much about it, I have to say that we also saw a success. We saw that people who were coming very alienated, not trying even to work with us, after 2 or 3 weeks they were becoming really interested in archaeology. They were coming back next year, the following year. Also, a few of them started to study archaeology, so of course this is not exactly as the Operation Nightingale, but we see that archaeology can help. Involvement in heritage can help people. They can find a new way for their life, and they can feel better thanks to such involvement. And Rempart showed us that we can also try to find new tools to work with people who need it, because they started some leadership trainings. They all offered to these people some special trainings where they became leaders for the people who were in the state, the mental state they used to be just a few years ago. So I really believe that heritage, not only archaeology, but heritage, involving people with some problems into heritage, can help with the well-being, can help with the mental, psychological situation of ones.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this, for providing the background for the operation. And now let's listen to what Surgeon Welsh has to say about his project.
Hello everybody, my name is Dermot Walsh and I'm going to be talking to you today about Loch Nightingale, how it came about and some of the observations that I saw. Some details about myself. I spent 27 years in the army as a medical professional and I'm also a qualified archaeologist. So how did the whole concept of Loch Nightingale come about? It came about actually not as a military concept, but as a concept working with young people in London. I did a project where we had a number of young people who were struggling with life. They, due to issues like abuse, physical violence, they were getting involved in crime and indeed in gang culture. And we took them away over a number of weeks where we actually did heritage activities and we did archaeology. We taught them skills like surveying, excavation, and we also integrated into their educational activities within their school. And we saw a major success. We saw them starting to build bonds with staff and indeed with other young people. And it was praised by the Inspector of Education in the UK as an innovative project that should be explored more. In 2011, I was attached to One Rifles, who were engaged in operations in Afghanistan, and we were getting a large number of young men and women coming back due to both serious and minor injuries, but it stopped them returning to the operational theatre. And we found that a number of them were struggling when they came back. They were struggling with guilt, they were struggling with isolation, loneliness, they were finding it hard to integrate, not just with their families and the civilian environment, but indeed even within their military unit. And I thought, well, if this is working, if this worked for young people who are not that dissimilar in age, it may work for them. And I spoke to a colleague within the MOD, and we started running small archaeological activities for 2 or 3 days, where we took them away, got outdoors, we did a variety of activities, and we concentrated very much on social skills, getting them talking amongst themselves, having a bit of fun, having that banter, and then started reintegrating them back into their unit, and it proved very, very successful. And we decided to expand it further, and that's something that we did. But one of the things we set out to make very clear to people, it was not there to train archaeologists. It was to signal and signpost individuals that could be struggling, or indeed even ask for help. And the idea was to give a pathway to provide support, intervention, and enable them to access support services that were in place. And I want to be very clear here, it was never intended to be a medical or therapeutic intervention. And indeed, as time went on with Loch Nightingale, I became very uncomfortable with the way it was being pushed and the way it was being portrayed. And in one case, I actually got very angry and I said, this is almost turning into a medical freak show. People were making claims they could not substantiate. It was not curing people of PTSD. It was not curing them of mental health issues that were affecting them. It was not in any way changing their lives dramatically. And in fact, when you look at the research that has been done with it has been shown that there is no clinical improvement with participants who take part in these programs. And in some cases, it can do more harm than good. And this is due to the Hawthorne effect, which is a concept which is well known within psychology. That's where you take people. They become the focus of the activities that are going on. They feel a key part of it. They feel integrated with the team. And because of that, their mental well-being improves, their mood improves, their humour improves. You've given them the opportunity to see light at the end of the tunnel. But the problem is that if you don't have joined up thinking in place where when your project ends or when your activity ends, there is then people to step in and continue that and help them gain the help and support they may need, they will actually go back to normal very quickly, and in some cases they will end up worse than when they started. Why? Because you've shown them how life can be and should be, and then you've taken away the opportunity to get there. And that is a dangerous pathway to go.
Dangerous pathway to go down. And so
down.
now,
as archaeologists, we are.
Thank you very much. We are actually grateful for the Surgeon Walsh for introducing this darker side of a project that has all the buzzwords in the, let's call it an application for funding, for example. We all want projects which are inclusive. We all want to work with the community. But it's important to remember that the community is made out of people who are dynamic, who change, who are vulnerable in many cases. So this is a question to Tima, given that you've been working, your project has been going on already for 13 years. Can you walk us through how do you ensure sustainability of such a project in terms of longevity? And how do you learn about your community so that to be responsive to their needs?
Yes, very good questions. Thank you. So basically, what we do is that, as I said before, like to create this framework where people can act. But how does it look like in the practice? So the festival itself works that each year we do a previous research on the buildings. Like in the previous years, it was like the 100th birthday, so like the 100 years old buildings. So we would have like a list of buildings. And then, since we ran out of the 100 years old buildings due to the war, now we chose like different themes for the festival because it was so popular. That this year it was the 70s, so it was not Budapest 100 but Budapest 50. So like the 50 years old building to talk about the modernist heritage. But basically, we have a list of buildings in the city that are matching our topic. And then we reach out to the communities of each building. Usually in this list there are like 300, between like 300 and 400 buildings. And we work also with a big number of volunteers. Also our volunteers are coming from very various backgrounds, from young people to elderly, and also from various disciplines, like from teachers to people who work at corporate jobs, have nothing to do with heritage or architecture. They are just like, as you mentioned before, like interested citizens because they find something of interest, something to get involved with, something to do, something meaningful, give back to the community. So we work with the volunteers, and basically this is not a very innovative tools or anything, but I think that's the part of it, the simpleness, that we go door to door. The volunteers go to door and try to convince people, try to reach to the communities. And during these 13 years, we haven't found a better solution for reaching a more inclusive and more diverse community that can join. And once they join us as the team, we create different meetings, different workshops where we show the opportunity of what they can do with their building, how they can showcase the history, how they can research it, how they can organize some programs around it. So basically, we just give them tools and opportunities to do what they want to do. And I think that's why it works in our case, that there is a lot of creativity in it. So like the creative part is given to the community, is given to the people, is given to the volunteers. So we are not telling what to do, we are just like raising the attention of how it can be done. And I think this is the power of it. So like when I have to summarize why is the project successful, I think it's because it's based on a very simple idea. Simple ideas are inclusive, I think, because it's easy for understand everybody. So in our case, it's just like, yeah, if your house is on the list, on the weekend of the festival, you can organize something that is connected to the history of the house. It's a very simple idea if you think about it. And also the gates of like joining are very nicely like put. It can be like you can also just participate, or you can give us ideas, or you can be like the organizer. So there are like different levels of involvement ensured in the project, which I think also credits accessibility to creating. But I think the most important part is that it is a creative process, and people want to, like that's our opinion, that people do want to engage in a creative process when they can do things together. And we have very nice success stories about it. And the sustainability you asked. So like every year we work with a different community of residents, but our volunteer community is also like changing, but there is one percentage. We started gathering data in the last few years around our volunteers, and surprisingly it's only I think like between 20 and 30% who are like the same ones, and each year it's like a new set of people, so the majority are new. But I think for the volunteers it helps that the festival is gaining a lot of credibility, like through some of the prizes that we win, through that it's been around for a long time, so it has like a good image in the city, and it's it's something cool that you can be part of. So it has this thing, but it has had to be, of course, like built up from ground zero at the very beginning, when the team members had to knock on doors basically and convince people that this is something fun that we can do.
Thank you very much. Well, maybe in the increasingly digital world, door-to-door solicitation is in fact an innovative idea, like this sort of harnessing face-to-face interaction, which we all long for in a way. So thank you for sharing this idea. I hope that we are here to share best practices, so I hope that this will be picked up. I would love to be knocked by a person and invited to the celebration of my building's birthday. I just feel like this is a fantastic idea. But although we still live in a very technology-driven world, and this will be a question to Igor and Leon about, you mentioned already that you both work in various dimensions of design, and you already mentioned that you draw from already existing research. You're also a researcher and lecturer. So I have a double question. The first question is, through design of space or product, can we increase the visibility of certain communities? If we, for example, design a space with enhanced accessibility, it is probably natural that all users, not only those who will use this part of the design, will notice it. So is there any research, any data, or would you say from your experience that indeed inclusive design does improve visibility for certain communities? And from that question, let's move on to how you're learning about the people for who you design, and how do you ensure that you're up to date with certain biases, that what you design will not outdate fast. So I'll start with Igor.
And I'll start with the second question. So that's a very, very good topic, and I think that as architects we oftentimes forget or maybe overlook for whom we design, and I think that we should understand the needs and the perspective of the users in general a bit more, and it applies to not only functional needs, for example, of what should be in a design, but also to needs in terms of mobility, people with disabilities, etc. And now this topic of inclusion in the architectural world is getting broader in terms of neurodiversity, for example, which is also a buzzword, and altogether that leads us to design that takes into account all of the users. And I think that when we think about universal design in general, when we design for the extremes, everyone will benefit from it. So I think I will start with understanding who is the user, what are the needs. Maybe this sounds basic, but I still think that's sometimes overlooked.
Thank you. Anything to add to that? No?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And what I can say about our faculty, we are trying to invite our students to invite people to their design processes. So they don't start the work with each topic by, I don't know, desk research or Pinterest or Google searching. We are trying to start the work with the meetings with people, workshops, or even going to the street and ask people about something. And I can observe that for our students, people in their 20s, it's a big challenge to have. It's very difficult for them to even to go to the shop and to order something like face to face. It's a very big challenge. But we know that for their future work, it's a very important skill to talk to people and to consult the projects. We are trying also simulate situations because sometimes it's maybe too difficult to ask someone who's blind or deaf about the problems that they have. Just do it like directly. So we have a laboratory of universal design at our faculty, and we have lots of simulators that our students could wear, like age simulating suit. They can wear it and feel like someone who's older. Also some simulators, glasses that simulate some sight disabilities, and it's a really good way to find some other ways how to design something for groups that are excluded in design processes, and maybe it would be a bit difficult to ask about some things directly.
I would add two more buzzwords to our dictionary today: interdisciplinarity and co-creation, because architects, designers don't know everything, sorry. And so please do make projects that are interdisciplinary, that involve specialists from other fields who then contribute with their knowledge. And co-creative invites the user to also contribute and make them an owner also in a way of the process. And I think that all of the projects that we've been talking here have these principles somewhere deep down in them. And one more thing that I would just like to highlight is the question of the well-being, especially mental well-being of the design community. Can we, as designers, architects, urban planners, if we are burnt out or suffer from depression, PTSD, etc., can we design environments that will contribute to well-being, that will make you feel better, happier, and fulfill the European Bauhaus principles of beautiful, sustainable, together? So maybe let's work on this one as well.
Thank you very much. This is a perfect wrap-up to the conversation, given that we also ran out of time. I thank you very much sincerely for your expertise and for the practices that you shared. I'm also very much surprised that what we learned today is that science and technology can teach us empathy, that we should not forget about our own community of designers and researchers, that door-to-door solicitation works and has been working for 13 years and it will work for 100 years. And also that non-formal, non-official universities can be transformational, and thank you for sharing this from your perspective as an alumna. Thank you very much. I think it won't be a problem if we still 1 more minute, if there is a question from the audience. Does anyone have a question for our panelists? If not, then this is a wrap up, and thank you very much.